Hey, this is Politics with Laura, and man, I got a barn burner for you today. Not only a barn burner, but I forgot to put on my microphone. Oh my goodness. I like the instrumental, and stick with me. I got a good one, a real good one, and it is about the school shooting down there in the University of North Carolina. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, woo, this is going to be a tough one because I'm going to peel back some layers, reveal some people, upset some people, and educate some people. Either way, a lot of feathers are going to be ruffled. Now, all the sources that I'm going to use is either going to be from a university, newspaper, mainstream newspapers, and also government documents to back up what I'm saying. So you can't come back and say to me, well, you only use black source. No. We're not even going to go there. And the truth is the truth. Now, this guy right here, this young man, oh my goodness, Tielei, and don't say, well, you couldn't even pronounce his name. You're right, I can't. Tielei Qi. I don't know. I don't know. But him. Now, what's interesting, just look at the caption. Look at the shooter described as mostly white Asian male. White Asian male. Now, all of this, what happened, comes down to identity. Now, when you come to the country, to the United States, you come from places to where you identify by your nationality. But when you come to the United States, forget about your nationality. What is your color and what do you identify as? Now, it could only either be two things, black or white. And then if you choose white, then you have the benefits of the whiteness and the privileges that come with it. And it is what it is. If you get offended, I apologize. I didn't write that. You might want to get upset with the U.S. government that did it. They put all of this separation between us, and this guy right here, he got caught in the middle. What occurred, in my belief, in what I'm going to lay out, and right here's my premise. I'm just going to call him T. T did what he did due to his white privilege being revoked when affirmative action was overturned. When that was overturned, Asians were no longer considered white, and you no longer had that privilege. Now, some of you are going to say, well, what about Filipinos and what about Vietnamese? You didn't make the cut. Now, the U.S. already identified many countries as white. Now, they say Northern Africa, you're white. Egyptians, you're white. Yes, you are. And if you say anything else other than pull out your ID and let's see what your race is, you won't do it. Ethiopians, oh yeah. What do you identify as? You could be blacker than an ace of spades, but when you check your ID, you're white. So when people talk about white supremacy and white this and white that, it does not always go according to your skin. It goes according to what you identify as. Now, if you look at a lot of my content, it seems that I'm talking a lot about Democrats, because the Democrats, you do a lot of dumb stuff, and you do it, and I'm going to talk about it. Now, I'm an independent, and either side, no. Either side, no. Independent. Now, let's first. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to use a lot of articles. Now this right here, I got to say, Ron DeSantis, Ron, this is your doing. You did this, and you set the foundation for this when you start talking about all that crazy stuff about slavery gave Black Americans job skills. That only added fuel to the fire, but I'm not going to go down that road. I just want to put that out there. Now, this student, he was a PhD student, a second-year PhD student, and I'm going to bring up what he. Come on, where is it? Oh, where is it? Okay, here it is. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Now, here, a faculty member fatally shot in a North Carolina building. Now, in Chapel Hill, this is going to go back to affirmative action. Oh, man. This is a big mess. This goes back. Okay. Now, Chapel Hill. Okay, I'm going to talk about it. Now, affirmative action was overturned because Asian students, prompted by, I can't remember the guy's name, a white guy, talked them into suing. And one of the schools just happened to be University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, that would not allow these Asian students in. So they sued and overturned it. It was Harvard and University of North Carolina. Now, interestingly enough, all of this went down at North Carolina University. University of North Carolina. You can't make it up, but here. A shooter eliminated a faculty member in the science building in the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill on Monday. Police said after a lockdown that paralyzed the campus community as authorities searched for the suspect. Now, we already know everything that occurred. We already know what he looked like. What's not being stated is this, and I don't think I've heard anyone talk about, was the stress that he's under. The stress that he's under. A PhD student, and also him having woman problems. So he had a lot of stress there. But I got his Twitter and his Instagram. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. All right. So, okay, here, Adrian, a sophomore computer science major and associated with Associated Press. And here, against the wall, Jim trying to stay away from the possible door. Okay, so it was ongoing activity. So it goes on, and it's talking about exactly what happened, and we already know exactly what happened, so we're not going to go down that road anymore. However, affirmative action, and I'm going to keep on coming back to this. I'm going to keep on coming back to affirmative action. And here's an interesting thing. Arthur Fletcher is the architect or the frameworker of affirmative action. Interesting. Okay, and oh man, okay. Now let's take a look at his Instagram page real quick. Let me break up. Okay, here. 2 posts. 2. And I find what's interesting is both looking up at the sky. Now, let's look at what people are saying. Art Master Gwen. Very interesting. Okay. Just quite interesting. Now here is the interesting part. Aren't you in some trouble? Now, what is that trouble? Did it have anything to do with his private life, or did it have anything to do with his academic life? Here, Shauna. Okay, here's the last 22 hours. But interesting. Here, these right here are the last 20 hours. This is wild. Here, it was a couple of years. Beautiful skies. So, but let's get to his Twitter, or shall I say X. I'm going to have a hard time with this X and his Instagram. Where is his Twitter? Now here, I found this very interesting, and this is before we get into the all right, here. Now, as we go through this, the time is all over the place. And I feel, I have to say, I really do feel bad for this guy. I really do. So, here, he's a graduate student, PhD program, engaged in light matter interaction related to materials. And here's science and technology. And he started in 2021. To feed. So here, July 31st. How did you find the postdoc position? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And you see some of the responses here. And he used that July 31st. That's a month and a week ago, 5 weeks ago. But as you go, just as you scroll through, you just see some things. So here, July 31st. Would like to make some new friends. I am a second year PhD student interested in nanoparticle synthesis, optical trapping, self assembly, spectral analysis, a bit stupid in a daily trifle, and very enthusiastic, talkative about research. So right there, it simply shows you that he's all up here, but as far as being a sociable person, no. He would have a hard time relating to people, but he'll relate well to people that is in his sphere. And intellects like that, just it just works out that well. It works out that way for them. But something about that really got me was about this. So I'm wondering about his postdoc, him being in school, being a second year PhD, being in science. It's a lot of stress. So here, I mean, just look. Glad to share our new paper about an optical blind. I have no idea what that is, but those of you who do, good. And it seemed like that he didn't have much. I don't know what that is. Oh, Hungarian at midnight. I mean, Hungary at midnight. I don't know what that is. But here, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but just take a look. Just take a look. I don't know what that is. Tried a new recipe. What is that? I have no clue. Some new, these kind of new people may be maybe good man actually, but might not be a sincere friend. Very interesting. For a PhD student, pay much attention to working and that look, attention to working time every day is really childish. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. But here, just yesterday, somebody's writing, just surrender. This lady said, just surrender so my boyfriend could come home. Now, how depressed were you? It's too late anyway. Wow. It's something. But it's quite interesting as you go through, you can see that he's posting things and he's not socially out there. And there are references as you go through it to where they talk about girl problems. Okay, evolution of an organism to electronics seems inevitable to deal with acceleration for humans entering space. Humans receiving speed, and he goes on, and the interactions, very little. And a lot of his interactions are just recently now that this has occurred. Oh my goodness. No, they didn't. Oh, this is dirty. Uh, Zachowy, that was dirty. This right here, what you did right here is dirty. That's dirty. 21 hours ago, hey buddy, why didn't you subscribe to TCA? True crime. Oh man. Oh, that is so dirty. Okay, I'm gonna come up with it. That is just dirty. When I came through it yesterday, looking through it, it was quite interesting. And I'm trying to look for the post. Oh, here. Last week, and this right here was November of last year, 2022. Last week, I walked I walk 80 hours per week, and I feel relaxed and energetic. And now I only walk 60 hours per week, and I feel tired just because I spend so much time to persuade myself that I just work out in interest instead, to show others I'm working. Wow, that right there is very telling. He's living for other people and not himself. Very interesting. Okay, okay, November 8th, 2022. Realized university of the same rank in China and in the US correspondingly have almost the same atmosphere. The mean level of students is almost the same, and only difference locates at the very top students from Chinese students from Chinese students all look the same. Wow, looks the same in limited district. Wow. Okay, that's very interesting. So, if you have ever looked into Chinese education, okay, I'm sure China will reward you and your family for your service in eliminating and stealing. Oh my goodness, from the competition, sleeper cell, Chinese spy. Wow. Based in your limited English. Oh my goodness. But the master's and PhD candidate in the US. Okay. Oh man, it's going to be open season. It's going to be open season. I'm going to leave it right there. But he goes on and on and on. Now, I spent about 20 minutes just showing a little bit about him. And there's going to be a lot of backlash about this. It truly is. So, now, affirmative action, I showed you by Arthur Fletcher. And affirmative action came through the 14th Amendment. Now, before I get into other people coming from other countries able to get affirmative action, however, they identify as whiteness, which I'm going to have to do another video to get all the people so that you have a fuller understanding of what's going on here, because it is the breaking down of the the idea of the US, where people come here and they have an idea. People come here and then they check off as, okay, I'm going to get all these privileges. But the US is breaking down, and everything is going to break down along with it, along with the people that support and uplift it. And he was one of them. And when that affirmative action, by him being, how can I say, I don't, I'm not a sociable person, more of an intellect, as I stated earlier, and does not really mesh well with other people besides other Asian people that are them culturally. But, oh, I'm sorry, somebody said something. Okay, wait a minute. Mike, hi, Laura. I need to go back to listen to the. Yeah, my. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that is great. It's great. That's really great. I'm glad everything is safe. But what's going on now, ever since affirmative action was let go, saying, okay, we're going to take race out. Since we take race out, now you're going to have to compete on a flat playing field. Now, if those, and I don't want to, don't badger me about, it is what it is, and I'm going to prove it. If you migrate here, and you check off whiteness, and you get all the benefits. When it's taken away, it's a shock. I see a lot of wild stuff going on here in the DMV area and other places to where people that have that, Latinos have the whiteness. And if you see them coming in, and the American government is giving them all the free stuff. It's true. You know it. You see it. You see it. I'm not making anything up. And let me go ahead. Where is this article at? Let's go ahead and get to the. Let's first get to. Oh, where's it at? I should have all this in order. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get used to this right here. It's a bit here. Okay, Thomas. Oh, come on. Okay, Thomas, the rare occurrence reads affirmative action opinion from the bench. Now, I found this, all these pop-ups. Okay, that's not it.
Lower emissions liquefied natural gas keeps communities.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas read his concurring opinion from the bench on Thursday in a rare underscored the importance he ascribed to the decision striking down the affirmative action in college admissions. Now, this does not only affirmative action is it does not start and begin with colleges. Affirmative action is throughout the whole entire society, jobs, places to live. And to keep it only at universities and schools and all that is disingenuous, and it is a big lie. So I really want people to stop perpetuating that it's only about universities. No, you're going to see a whole lot. Matter of fact, there were people that were immediately fired of high positions, people of color, after when affirmative action was overturned. So let's keep that in mind. Thomas, a conservative and one of two African American on the court, voted with 6 other members majority that found the admission program at the University of North Carolina and Harvard violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Also filed in his concurrence, laying down his own reasoning for his decision and to choose, to read aloud, which seldomly happens, and that's very true. Now, what's interesting is Clarence Thomas benefited from affirmative action. He went to Colgate University, and what's oh my goodness, Tanji Brown Jackson went to Harvard, double Harvard, but then she recused herself when she should have. Okay, liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor read aloud of her dissenting opinion. The ruling of the court restricts the use of race in the college admissions after decades of colleges and universities using affirmative action programs to consider race as one of the several factors admitting the student application. Now, why the Asian students were unable to get into UNC or Harvard, they never stated what it was. They never stated that. They only stated that they were discriminated against. What was it? I don't know, but they never said what it was. Now, Thomas argued in his concurrence that previous Supreme Court decisions upholding affirmative action would actions allowed universities to discriminate against applicants in their admission process. Let me find that other. Hold on for a second. Let me find that other article. Let me find the other article that goes along with this because that's not it. Gosh, damn, I should have had this in order. Please, I do apologize. I do apologize here. Okay. In admissions, and he wrote that the Constitution is a colorblind. It's colorblind, and neither knows nor tolerates class among citizens. Let me. Is this it? Okay, let me come out of this real quick and bring up the other one. Oh, they're over there. It's stalling me. You don't want me saying this stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me bring up the other one. Where is it? Okay, right here. The U.S. Title 42. Now here, federally assisted programs. Now, how this comes into this into affirmative action because it is a federal program. Now, when you have students going into universities, they get federally funded monies. Now, here, prohibit against exclusion from participating in denial of benefits of and discriminating against discriminating under federally assisted programs on the ground of race, color, and national origin. No persons in the United States shall, or on the grounds of race, color, and national origin, be excluded from participating in, being denied the benefits of, or subjected to discrimination under any programs or activities receiving federal money and federal assistance. Well, that's why that they had to use affirmative action. So for Judge Thomas to say what he said is most definitely beyond disingenuous, because he's saying that the Constitution is colorblind and neither knows or tolerates classes among citizens when you have federally funded programs that says you can't discriminate by race, origin, and everything else. But okay, Judge Thomas, okay. Whatever. And the court today makes it clear that in the future, universities wishing to discriminate based on race in admissions must articulate and justify compelling and measurable state interest based on concrete evidence. Okay, Justice Thomas, then why do we have HBCUs? Historically Black universities and colleges. So the only two groups of people that have universities and colleges are PWI, predominantly white institutions, and HBCUs Black. Everybody else in between is stuck in the middle. So they either go to PWIs or HBCUs. So now that affirmative action was taken out and they won't be able to go to those PWIs, then they'll go to the HBCUs. Now, what if HBCU says, wait a minute, well, race was taken out, we don't have to accept you because of race. Well, we're looking at all these other qualifications, and you don't check the boxes. You can't make this stuff up. Oh my goodness, but I'm going to unpeel it slowly. Please stick with me. I'm unpeeling it slowly until I get to bring everything together. So Thomas noted that he previously dissented in 2003 in the case of Gutter versus Bollinger. I saw that doing the research, in which the court upheld affirmative action. So there has been an attack on a while on affirmative action trying to overturn it, which was finally done. And the Asian students that were able to do it, you hurt yourself. And I hope I have that to where they do not consider Asians here. And everything India on over to the east is minority. India on over to the west is white. I'm going to bring some of that up. You'll see. As the majority of the court decided at the time of that Title 14 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment allowed for race to be used in a narrowly tailored way to advance the compelling interest in education benefits that come from diverse student body. Now, having said that, I am, okay, it's not in this one. So, that happened. T just, through the pressure, look, graduate school, graduate and postgraduate school, the levels are beyond understanding. The amount of work that you are doing, because what you are basically doing in the graduate and postgraduate level is you are adding towards academic work to where government agencies can go in, grab work, and say, okay, we're going to use this, we're going to put it out there in public policy. That's why it's so strenuous. Okay, let me go ahead and bring this out. So it's interesting. And I believe the first person that was eliminated was his professor. Now, it's not known whether if that professor was on his body of doing his dissertation, or was it the actual professor that was teaching him? And was there a disagreement? Apparently there was a disagreement, and it had possibly had a lot to do with his grades. Now, all of this is simply what I'm thinking. I'm just trying, only what I'm thinking. So don't take what I say. Take it with a grain of salt and do your own research. Now, within this, they're talking about the 14th Amendment. Oh, wait a minute, 14th Amendment. Now here. Here, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Let me keep this real quick. From Cornell University. Okay, the 14th Amendment addresses many aspects of citizenships and rights of citizens. The most commonly used and frequently litigated is the phrase amendments is equal protection under the law, which figures permanently in a wide range of landmark cases, including Brown versus the Board of Education, racial discrimination, Roe versus Wade, reproductive rights, Bush versus Gore, election recount, Reed and Freed, gender discrimination, the University of California, Baker racial quota, and so on. Now, the first thing, citizens of the United States and the states wherein they reside, no state shall make or enforce any laws that shall abridge the privilege and immunities of the United States citizens, nor shall any state deprive any person, get this, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Property. Now, when you look up here, wait a minute, when you look up here, you can't make this stuff up. Here, it's talking about equal protection under the law, but here, Roe versus Wade talking about reproductive rights, but here the Constitution says life. It doesn't say death, liberty, and property. No, life, liberty, and property. And I'm going to leave it right there. And those of you pro-choice, don't come in and drive me nuts. That's what the Constitution says. If you don't like it, well, you're already doing what you're doing. And keep on doing it if that's what you feel. But look, okay. But here, now here, this is where it gets interesting. The third section, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elected president, vice president, held or hold any office, civil, military, under the United States and under any state who have previously taken an oath, keep in mind oath, that a member of Congress or as any officer of the United States or as any member of the state of legislative and executive and judicial officers of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in rebellion against the same or given aid, comfort to the enemies thereof. The Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of the House. Now that right there, I'm sort of putting that out about, I shouldn't have done that. That's about our presidents that's going on right now. So right there, it's already saying that race, equal protection, race. And for Clarence Thomas to say that race is not important, really? Really, Clarence? Really? And I'm going to leave it right there. Now, let's get into whiteness. Now, this is going to be a sticky one, a real sticky one. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot something. I should have started off with this first. Oh my gosh, I should have started off with this first. Forgive me. Here. These pop-ups. Arthur Fletcher, GOP advisor, dies at 80. Now, this is very important, extremely important, because he is the one that is the framer. He's the framer of affirmative action. Now, Arthur Johnson, a Republican civil rights advocate whose plan in the 1960s requiring the government to enforce timetables and goals in hiring of minority workers became the framework for affirmative action. He is the framer. It wasn't a Democrat, no. Some of you are going to get mad at me. It wasn't a Democrat. It was only a Republican, a black Republican that did this, started it. I'm not taking any shots at anybody because it is what it is. Okay, here. Now, okay, he died at George Washington. Okay, and I'm not saying that flippantly, no. But this is where it starts. In Kansas in the 1950s, at a time when most black civil rights leaders were Democrats, Fletcher, the son of a career military man and a son-in-law of an entrepreneur, seemed perfectly at ease pushing for better opportunities for black and instituting policies for the Republican administration. Yet, his political learning left other black leaders uneasy, while while some white Republicans questioned his support for hiring quotas. Interesting. Fletcher favored taking race into account to remedy discrimination as a practical matter, despite the loftier ideas of leveling the playing ground. And I question that too, but he is the framer. Now, it's not about social justice, Fletcher said in a church assembling in Peoria in 2001, according to Peoria Journal Star. Social justice is nice, but I've got something in my pocket that can buy all the social justice I need. A college football star who studied under the GI Bill, the Bill of Rights at the Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas. Mr. Fletcher was tapped. I'm sorry. Okay, what was I? Soon after graduating and managing a campaign for Fred Hall, a liberal, and like I said, Republicans can be liberals too, not just Democrats. Liberal Republican running for governor among the black voters. So I'm trying to get to here. This is interesting right here. Hall won and Fletcher was awarded a job overseeing the building and maintenance of Kansas Highway. The job in the 1950s, in the middle of the boom in highway building, gave him a first-hand look how lucrative government contracts were handed out, and Fletcher took from it in it a belief that better access to those contracts was the cornerstone of improving the prospects of minorities, he said. Now, quite interesting. Government contracts are quite lucrative. Now, they weren't handing out government contracts just to anyone. It was mostly called white people that were getting the contracts, but by him being able to see it, he was able to, okay, well, we need to do this and do that. You're wondering, how does this have anything to do with the school shooting? Everything what I'm saying has everything to do with what happened at the University of North Carolina. I'm just taking you back to give you an understanding of why it happened. All right, one last thing before, okay. This is going to be, okay. Now, hold your socks on this one. Hold your socks. Because now it's getting into, okay, let me not talk about it. Let me just show you. Oh, wait a minute. I thought I brought it up. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I just had it. Where are you? 14th Amendment. Okay, here. Now, brace yourself. Now, this right here stretches across all races. But I just found this. Now, this is academic work, assimilating to whiteness or white identity, case Arab Americans. Now, some of you got mad at me when I put this on Instagram, and some were upset. Oh, well, how can you say that? Because it's true. And this is me not saying it. I'm not saying this. Oh, come on, don't do that. You want to know who's saying it? Come on. Oh, wait a minute. What? Okay. I hope I don't get a strike for this. This is at Eastern University. Now here, the oh Lord, okay. Radical identity is one of the primary means in which immigration assimilate to the United States. Okay? Drawing from the tenets and segment assimilation, religious affiliation, Arab Americans, and it doesn't only end with Arab Americans. I got to do a second part of this. Contributed to the announcement of the white racial identity using and regionally representative the sample of the Arab Americans results illustrate that those who were Lebanese, Syrian, or Christian, and those who felt the term Arab American does not describe them. Now, were likely to identify as white. Did I make that up? No. In addition to among those who affirm that the pan-ethnic term Arab American does not describe them, results illustrate that a strongly held feelings about being Arab American and associated action were linked with higher likelihood of identifying as white. Now, here. Okay, immigration to the United States includes the experience of being placed into racial hierarchies. Did I make that up? So don't be inbox me. Don't inbox them and go after them. I'm just letting you know. Okay, states include experience, okay, being placed into a racial hierarchy, which becomes one of the primary means in which identity is established, yet defining characteristics as racial categories are complicated and open to negotiation, which when they got rid of affirmative action, they renegotiate who was white. That is what happened, and the Asians lost that roll dice. They rolled the dice and lost. Okay, and where was I? Negotiation. Immigration policies in the U.S. historically employed whiteness as a precondition for citizenship. Okay, so when you come here, and if you don't pick white or take on the white socialization, you're going to have a lot of problems. You're going to be placed in the category with Black Americans and Indians at the very bottom. So I get why you do it. What I don't understand is why do you hinder people on the bottom trying to rise up? Why are you pressing people down? And that goes for Caribbeans, you too. Oh my goodness, you too. Way darker than me, but you're classified your whiteness. When you come here, you identify as white. And if you say no, pull out your ID. I want to see it. Okay? Pull out that paperwork, because if you don't, who's going to believe it? No. Paperwork. Okay. And don't call me racist, because I'm not. Look, you're looking at where it's coming from. I'm just letting you know. Okay? All right. Establish yet defining characteristics of racial category. Okay. Immigration policy, U.S. historically employed. Okay. And so the sense of race to adopt among the immigrants is a deep-rooted phenomena that implicitly organizes the migrant experience. The key issue to consider is the analysis of the immigrant's adaptation is the definition of whiteness. Now, that's very true. you can check off, but are you going to assimilate and adapt to it? And there are some people who are having some serious issues. Okay, I'm doing this, I'm identifying as this, but can I adapt to it? And I think, okay, let me finish this out real quick. And the key issue is to consider the category. Okay, the immigrant adaptation is the definition of whiteness. Whiteness represents the sociological category and the uh, that demarcates the unspoken privilege in power. Again, I don't need to go any further with that. Again, with that, when affirmative action was overturned, I can't pronounce his name, TQIQ, I'm sorry. He lost everything. He lost everything. Now, being in the PhD program, whatever privileges he had was gone. That's why. And this is simply my thought. That's why all of this happened. Let's go back up. And you saw his Twitters, and now people are coming down. Look, it's going to be open season on Chinese and Asian people. And then you're going to have some ignorant people saying, well, you did this, you're Chinese. Well, no, I'm Korean. Well, how do I? Watch what happens. It's going to be a free-for-all. And interestingly enough, they have the Asian hate crime bill. Now, I find that quite interesting. It's going to be a free-for-all. Okay, let's take a look at this. Is this a... All right, let me go ahead and put this in real quick. I hate these pop-ups. Now here, a faculty member was eliminated, and it doesn't say that the faculty member had anything to do with T. T just is the way they make it seem. Hold on. The way they make it seem, the way they are writing it, as T said, I'm going to go to school today, and I'm just going to go to the science lab, faculty, and I'm going to eliminate any teacher, any professor that I see. And then if anybody sees me do it, I'm going to eliminate them too. Like he just woke up that day and that was, no. And I don't like it when reporters do that. Be true journalists, report the truth. Then maybe people would have faith in the American, media. Because right now, you're batting zero. No one believes you. Okay, I'm done. Here. So, a faculty member was eliminated in North Carolina on Monday, leading to the hours of the lockdown. And it's basically repeating a lot of what was already said. But here, Governor Roy Cooper, a Democrat. This is for one person and one person only. Hey, look, I'm an independent. I didn't put that down there. So don't give me the stink eye. Said he was in touch with the local officials and the school authorities that expected to hold on. Oh, goodness gracious. To hold a news conference on Monday evening. Now, Let me see. Oh, it goes on and on and on. Okay. Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill. Oh, goodness. Wait a minute. Classes started a week ago, but the shooting that left terror in eerie quiet during what is usually a joyous and exciting time on campus. Oh, it's just going to go on and on. All cleared issue for campus after fatal shooting. Oh, it's all yesterday, and it's just going to go on and on. Now, Caudill Labs, seen at the fatal shooting, is the centrally located building in the university. The website says the focus on the chemistry, focused on interesting, was not clear that slaying faculty member on Monday. And I go back, and as information comes out, I'm going to put it out right now. 2:13 Eastern Standard Time, August 28th, which is my late sister's birthday. That T, who eliminated that professor, was either his professor and having issues with a grade, because at that level, you can't have low grades or they're going to put you out. Or this professor was on his dissertation team and gave him some news that he did not like. Who knows how many extensions he had? Who knows what his grade point average was? Who knows? But one thing, that whiteness was gone. So whatever, he's a true minority now. Now, what does this mean as a whole around the United States? Are you going to be afraid of all Asian people? No. And don't do that. It's not cool. Because we have a habit of lumping people in. I'm not going to go on this social stuff. I'm not going to do that. But I will say we have a habit of taking what one person does. And the United States is great for doing this. One person does something, and then you put that person is the poster child of anything that would happen. You're going to blame it on the whole entire group. Because of what he did, for whatever reason why he did it, and this is all speculation on my part. This is what I truly believe why things occurred. But because he did it, now all Asians, now I'm not sure if he's Chinese, I don't know, but I'm just saying Chinese, and don't bash me saying I'm racist. No. Okay? But he's the poster child. So anything that occurs, oh, there goes T, he's gonna do it T. That's what Americans do. We do that, and it's shameful. But back to the affirmative action. Now, here's the interesting part. This is going to spark a fire into Black Americans, and I'm going to tell you why. And
you want to play some game?
You
want to play again?
I'm live streaming.
Check.
Hey. I'm live streaming. I'm sorry. I need some affirmative action in my household. Based on talking. Let me stop. Now, as I was saying, this is going to spark a fire into Black Americans. It is. Because affirmative action was supposedly to help Black people out of slavery, so descendants of slaves. So if you go back to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, it does. Now, it just so happened that they included other races. Now, it had, how do I say this? Mm. It had nothing to do with sexual orientation. It had nothing to do with, oh my goodness, um, um, nationality or anything of that sort. It had everything to do with race, and that was it. Now you may disagree with me, and that is okay. You can disagree with me. But affirmative action was to give Black Americans an equal playing field. But it helped more people other than Black Americans. And then they added the whiteness that I showed you in the Arabs. So when they come in and getting affirmative action, but they have the white identity, but when you still look at them from their place of origin, now all of that is gone. Black people, or you may say Black people are lazy. That is not true. Far from the truth. That right there is a hype that certain people give out because it's beneficial to them to put that in, put that out there. You're going to see a whole lot of difference because Black people are most definitely competitive. And I'm not talking about sports. I'm not talking about who could throw a hoop. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. If you really want to be curious, look at the inventions that were made in this country, and then you'll see you'll have a different perspective, and I'll leave it as that. But this is going to strike according to Black Americans, and you're going to see them doing much more. All right. But based on that, that is what I saw when this occurred. When he went and shot up the room, and guys, I mean it in a different way. I mean literally that and not as you all mean it. Shot up the room. He lost everything. He lost everything. And who can they blame? Asians. But here's the interesting part. Oh, there is a big fight. The guy who got these Asian students to do it, he's going to court. They're going after him. Let me see if I can find this right now. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Let me take that out. Hold on for a second. I do apologize. Um, let me try Google. I don't want Google tracking everything what I do. Okay. Do I have that affirmative action? Okay. Here I got it. Okay. Now let's take a look at this. Let me share my screen. This is a gentleman behind, the activist behind the Supreme Court affirmative action case is now suing law firms. This is the guy, okay? This guy right here. The conservative advocate who engineered the lawsuit behind the Supreme Court um, June decision on to end race conscious affirmative action in college administration on Tuesday, sued two firms that offered fellowship to diverse candidates. Oh, this guy. The lawsuit filed by Edward Blooms uh, a two-year-old and anti-affirmative action organization, the American Alliance for Equal Rights, accused the law firm of unlawful racial discrimination against white candidates. And this is where you get a lot of the now you have um, white people talking about that they're being discriminated against. Um, okay, I I truly don't know how. I really don't know how. Unless if you're not putting your best foot forward. And don't say, well, politics with Laura, you're racist. No, 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 no. Everything that I showed you was based on the Constitution, and the Constitution was built to give Americans that fled persecution and came here to the New World, and these are the laws that was agreed upon uh, by white Americans. And now you're saying that, just a thought. So, here, let me see, the lawsuit targets the international firm Perkins and Coie. Oh, Perkins and Coie is the one law firm that Johnny Depp used. Okay, Perkins and Coie and Morrison and Foster are Forrester, but the fellowships for diverse candidates are common across the legal industry. The suit filed in the Texas is against Perkins and Coie and alleges the firm has been racially discriminating against future lawyers for that. Big fight. So now, okay, here, an applicant who are students of color, students who are LGBTQ, students with disabilities, fellowship pays tens of thousands of dollars to first and second year law students that provide pools of prospective employees of the firm. And it goes on. So here, this guy right here, you can't make this stuff up. But there are lawsuits going all over the place. And they're not going, affirmative action is done. It's done. The race part is done. So now they're saying, okay, now that we have reestablished who white people are, minorities, all of you, you're going to have to compete. Equal playing field. If you want to reach here, you had better work to get here. It is what it is. But that right there is my perspective of T. Tielei, Teilei. I don't know how to pronounce it. But T. Everything was snatched away from him when that occurred. And immediately, when that was overturned, the very next day, a whole bunch of grants and scholarships for students of color gone immediately. As I said earlier, people that were fired from their jobs. You had the woman at Disney. She was, oh my goodness, she was, I can't remember what her position was, but she got fired. They're letting a lot of people go. Now it's going to be quite interesting what happens now. It's going to be very interesting. In the United States, again, I'm going to say it again. You have to choose between black and white. Now, some of you can't choose it because you automatically got to come over to the black side anyway, because that buffer for you is gone. True. But woo, it's going to be quite interesting. I'm sorry to keep on saying that. It's going to be, because it is, and let's see what happens. Oh, I did not mean to do that. All right. On that note, I want to thank you for stopping by. I do. Where's it at? Okay, I'm trying to get used to these. I rearranged some things. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is for one person only. You're gonna call me up and get me. Now that affirmative action is over and you're crying. But you're my girl, I love you. You're my girl, I love you. Just a joke. On that note, again, I want to thank you for stopping by. You could be anywhere in the world, and you could be doing anything, which you are, but you're here